Bearcats fans, this is Neil Meyer, the Front Office News, here with
JT Smith.
And we are recapping the Bearcats' first ever home Big 12 victory after defeating 19th ranked TCU tonight in overtime, 81-77. It was a story of two halves, three halves if you add overtime to say the least. But it was a strange night here at Fifth Third Arena to say the least. To start out, TCU comes out and buries 9 of their first 10 shots, and they take an early 26-13 lead over the Bearcats. But following that hot start, the Horned Frogs go completely ice cold in a back and forth battle. The Bearcats cut the lead to 2 heading into halftime after trailing by as much as 13, which was a huge sight to see. But it was a battle that came down to the very end, and it was a weird ending. Even Coach Miller emphasized it in the press conference side. It was a very wild ending to this one and a very wild sequence heading into overtime. But overall, a lot of positives to take away, and we'll break it down for you here. I'll start with the play of John Newman, and what he did tonight was phenomenal. I've been saying it for a while. JT has been saying it for a while. John Newman is starting to single-handedly cement his case into consideration for Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year after his performances at Texas versus Baylor and what he did here tonight versus TCU. And he really did it on both ends of the court. He finished with 7 rebounds, really locked down Emmanuel Miller, who is the Horned Frogs' leading scorer, held him to 5 of 14 from the field for just 13 points in this one. And man, John Newman turned it on offensively, 20 points, 8 of 14 from the field, and 7 rebounds. And man, was it a defensive and an offensive showing for John Newman tonight. JT, what were your thoughts on this one?
For sure, man. I'm going to go ahead and go with Day Thomas. Day Thomas had a hell of a game. I think he stacked up 2 very, very good games. Coach Miller said it in the press conference. Day did miss a few layups, so people that are nitpicking, you need to make those layups, of course. But he made big shot after big shot, made defensive plays. I mean, those back-to-back steals, he got the dunk, he missed the layup. Crucial three. Dan kicks it out to him. Hits a big 3. And without that, the Bearcats don't win. I think, TCU turned the ball over 19 times. I feel like their point guards had double digits together turnovers. I think they had 10 of those 19, I want to say, or 9, if I'm cutting it short. But Day Thomas was a big reason behind that. And I think that was huge for the Bearcats. I also want to give some props to Dan Skillings. It was an up and down game. He did miss the free throw at the end, but I feel like he made a lot of key plays. He made the layup at the end, right? At the end of the game, right? So for him to stay in the game, stay focused, not dwell on it, was huge for the Bearcats. They lost a couple of tough games, one here at Texas, one here against Texas, and one on the road against Baylor. To get a dub and now be 2-2 in the Big 12, and they were out-rebounded 41-35. There was one possession where TCU had 4 offensive rebounds late in the game when the Bearcats were crawling back to, I don't know if the game was tied or if they were down.
At the time,
they were tied. And the one, I don't think the young man was established in bounds before he got it, but at the same time, this was one of those games the referees kind of called it how they felt, and it was a little iffy both ways. But at the same time, Bearcats were able to keep fighting, and this was one of those games that they could easily be 1-3, and it's one of those games I think last year they may have lost, and this year they didn't. So it's huge. Bearcats now have Oklahoma on Saturday at Fifth Third Arena. But just talk about how huge this win was for the Bearcats, being their first Big 12 victory at home.
Fans storming the court as well. Yeah. That was a TCU team that came in 19th ranked in the country after a historic last 7 days where they defeated number 9 Oklahoma, defeated number 2 Houston, solidified their way into a top 25, and come in here and now could potentially find themselves on the verge of falling back out of the top 25 after what happens next week. But that is a very good TCU team. Number 1 in the nation in fast break points with 23 fast break points per game, roughly on average. The Bearcats held them to 13 tonight. 13. So let's think about that. Despite all the turnovers, felt like in the first 7 minutes they had 9 turnovers, I believe. So they limited the turnovers. They really settled in, but it was a defensive showcase here at Fifth Third Arena tonight down to the end. Aziz Bandega was back healthy. I thought his impact was great for Wes Miller and the Bearcats. And Wes Miller gave us an update in the post-game press conference that Aziz actually said he was feeling really well after this game. So it sounds like Aziz is healthy, getting ready to come back into full gear. And it's something to monitor still, but that is a huge sign trending in the right direction. So there's a lot of positives to take away from this one, fans. I know a lot of people are going to mention the missed free throws, the missed layups. This team last year, I don't think they pulled this one out, but you also have to think it was a full circle moment for a guy like John Newman tonight, who missed the free throw that would have tied the game versus Texas, or won the game versus Texas, if I remember right. And then tonight he hits 2 crucial free throws, and they buried him at the end. Despite only shooting 55% roughly from the foul line, they buried him and made their free throws when needed the most.
For sure, 100%, man. So make sure you guys check out the Front Office News. My man Neil Meyer is working on the recap. We'll have video from John Newman, Day Thomas, Coach Miller, Coach Dixon, Jameer Nelson Jr., and Travion Tennyson. So make sure you guys check, like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, follow the Front Office News. I'm JT Smith.
And I'm Neil Meyer.
We're signing out.